Welcome back, New Jersey football fans. The Mark Trible's Hats Off podcast, sponsored by the South Jersey Elite Realty Group here in Studio B. We started the weekend in South and Central New Jersey, quote unquote, South and Central, 80 football teams in the public brackets. If you are one of the 40 that is left, congratulations. There are some that are left in that 40-team field that are surprises. Some we thought, might have quick exits. Some that had long road trips and prevail with big wins in games that really were afterthoughts. That is the beauty of playoff football. It's the beauty of postseason in any sport. We saw last night the run that the Phillies have been on. They lost, had a setback. Wasn't quite their night. But that's why they're going to play on Monday. It's a little bit different than football, where it literally is win and go home, or that's it. We got a lot of our unusual commenters on here. Derek, there were a lot of blowouts. We'll touch on some of them. Matt, the real creek is still flowing. Go Pirates. Big win for Coach Melody. Birthday gift for him as they beat Timber Creek this weekend. Marsh, you said it. Eastside will win. The Tigers go up and beat South Plainfield, heart of a champion, he says in Dwayne. Still bruised from Friday night. It was a rough one for Union in the Union City game. And those places are not next to each other either, for those of you that are wondering, Union and Union City. I saw two pretty good games. Oakcrest, big win for Oakcrest. Oakcrest is one of the Atlantic County teams that won this weekend. There were a handful of them. I saw one of them on Friday night, Rod, in what was our game of the week. Atlantic City, the 5 seed, at Rancocas Valley, the 4 seed, in, I'm trying to think, I think it was South Group 5. I've got it here. South or Central? Central Group 5. Atlantic City had not won a playoff game since 2012. And I've heard from some of the folks down there. I know that there has been a lot of talk about them this year and the strides that they've taken. If you've watched the show regularly on Wednesday nights, you've seen there was a couple weeks in a row they had Nod of the Week. 1 week they beat Deptford, I think, 27-16, and they had 3 touchdowns on defense or special teams. They found ways to win all year. Coach Keenan Wright's done an excellent job. And speaking to him, actually the first time I got to meet Keenan in person was before the game, and just positive, straightforward guy. Very, very impressed with him. This game was insane, Rod. The bottom line for the hats off is it goes to Sinai DeGraffenrate, Ice Cup. He had 2 touchdown catches in the last quarter as they rally from 8 down to win 32-28. But the fade route he caught with 47 seconds left to win the game in the end zone was impressive. Joe Lyons throwing the ball, Alan Packard running the ball. Just a very impressive win. And when you look at those first round of the playoffs, to pick a game, you kind of get lucky with a great game. As Derek pointed out, a lot of lopsided results. But to get a game where a team breaks that program drought with playoff wins, to see how much it means to them, to see how much it means to Coach Wright. The fact he's been there a few years, he's building a program that, quite frankly, when he came in there, he's building from scratch. It was heartwarming to see. There was, they dumped the ice buckets on Coach Wright. Atlantic City is going to play at Lenape this weekend, or next weekend. Biggest upset, Hector says, it wasn't South Jersey, but was Dumont beating Newark Westside. I had seen they hadn't won a playoff game or they hadn't hosted a playoff game or something in years. I think Brian Carr might have been there. He was talking about Dumont. Congratulations to them. And I probably pronounced that. It might be Dumont. I'm not sure. But Ice Cup, this guy I had somebody say to me at the game yesterday, tell me about this Ice Cup guy. He's getting famous, not just because of the nickname. Sophomore, 6'1" receiver, and as Coach Wright told me, loves the game more than most anybody he's ever been around. And the kid is a quiet kid. He was down at, a lot of folks might not realize this, but when we had the Battle at the Beach preview show, and Rod and I went down there the Thursday before it started.
Yep.
And we said, if you're a youth or high school player, come down. We got some swag to give out. We'd love to meet you and talk. Mm-hmm. We had a lot of kids come out from the Ocean City Raiders youth program. And outside of that, the only other players that came, Kamal Newsome brought Ice Cup and a couple other Atlantic City players, and we got to meet them and spend some time with them, and that was pretty cool then. It's really cool now because seeing them in that night, how cold it was, and watching them be able to celebrate a huge win was pretty awesome, Rod.
It looked like it was a ton of fun down there.
Oh, it was. It was.
They had a party all the way back to Atlantic City.
It was a long ride.
About an hour and some change. I mean, they were partying up on that bus, and well-deserved. The amount of work that they put in over the years to get to that level. Yeah. And like we said, Atlantic City, it never was a question of talent. It was just they always something would kind of hold them back from like taking that next step. And it's good to see that they get the playoff win.
Not just the talent's never been questioned, but how much of the talent is playing in Atlantic City, has been a question too, because there's been some there's major parochial schools down there that have been top billing for a while. And, Coach Wright has done an excellent job in keeping some AC Dolphins. And they have, not only do they have youth on that team, but they have, from what I understand, some young kids too. Moving forward, the program is just going in the right direction. So congratulations again, Atlantic City. We do have a note in here also. Canellen, the 8 seed, beat Park Ridge, a 1 seed in Group 1 in one of the biggest upsets of the weekend, for sure, up north. This is, while it's on the top of my mind, Rob, you talk about playoff football, things you see, the beauty of football in seeing things that you've never seen before. This weekend, on the first snap of offense for Atlantic City, they started the game on defense.
My goodness, yeah.
The first snap, running back Alan Packard gets the ball, and Atlantic City is on its own 1 yard line.
Right.
Now, they're on the left hash. They run to the boundary side. Mm-hmm. He shakes off a tackle.
Mm-hmm. Well, he ducked him. Yeah.
And Alan Packard goes 99 yards for a touchdown.
Right. I saw the fireworks, man.
Now, just so everybody knows, this one I can understand without the help of a historian. That play is tied for the longest play from scrimmage in state history because it cannot be any longer than that.
Right.
I don't need to look up any records. There's nobody who's ever had an offensive play. Now, you could have an interception return.
Right.
But there's never been an offensive play longer than that.
It's a big-time play.
And I got to give it to your guy, Kevin Emmons, because he was there and he was filming it. I mean, I'm not filming it. They're on the 1 yard line. and maybe if you gave Kevin truth serum, he'd say he was filming it in case there was a safety.
A safety, yeah. That's a scoring play. So he's looking to catch the touchdown on that.
So Alan Packard goes 99 yards.
That's amazing. And the fact that he ducked under, like, when I watched the video, it was like 2 or 3 guys trying to grab him. Yeah. So, I mean, if you're an RV fan, you're screaming because you think it's a safety. And then next thing you know, he's gone, 99 yards.
He also had a kickoff return for score to start the second half. So after he gets that one, you're definitely thinking, I'm definitely thinking, if Atlantic City wins this game, Alan Packard has got to get the hat.
Right.
Because he has put up 2 legendary plays, and he has a ton of yards. But Ice Cup, flipped that switch in the fourth quarter and just given that touchdown. But Alan Packard had the hat stolen from him by his teammate. But, Rod, yesterday, I am at Marlboro High School out of the Shore Conference. Washington Township is playing the Mustangs.
Mm-hmm.
And this is in South Group 5. Marlboro punts Washington Township down to the 1-yard line. Left hash. Now, you would think, since I didn't record the play on Friday night, I would say, you know what? This can happen. I should turn on my phone my phone camera and just see what happens. No, I said, there's no way. First play from scrimmage, running to the boundary side. Jared Dizergowski, quarterback power, breaks a tackle and runs 99 yards for a touchdown.
Can't make this up, man.
I will maybe never see that again, and it happened 2 days in a row. Again, tied for the longest play from scrimmage in state history, in football history.
What are you gonna do, Mark? 2 plays in a row. You could have had both of those on the same weekend.
What am I going to do? I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do.
the
next time the team is down at the 1-yard line, I'm going to record the video.
Yes.
And probably for the next 250 times I see that happen, there's not going to be a 99-yard touchdown run. And it's going to happen enough times where I say, man, to heck with this. I'm not recording these anymore.
Right.
And then as soon as I do that, Alan Packard or Jared Dizergowski of year 2038 is going to bust one all the way to the house. And I'm going to remember this conversation.
So the question is, in that moment, did you think about it? Or did you say, I get them when they cross the 50? That's normally what I do. When they cross the 50, I'll get them.
I felt extreme excitement, like a kid, honestly. That was also the great part of it. I just felt like overwhelmed that I'm like, I can't believe that. I'm looking at everybody. Did you see that? 99 yards? This just happened yesterday. It was great. Marlboro came back and won that game yesterday. They deserved it. They took down Washington Township. Opportunistic defense. Their best player got hurt in the first half. 21-17. It's a hike, but it's a good game. Nice day outside. Felt bad for Coach Schatzman and company. 2 rough years, playoff exits. But, they've got a good thing going there, and that's the reality of the playoffs. It is not for the faint of heart. Let's roll through some of these things that stood out. I tweeted this out yesterday. South Jersey this weekend. I'm talking about traditional South Jersey. That's a 7-county area that makes up what we would call South Jersey. In other words, the West Jersey Football League minus the Mercer County schools or Trenton schools. So when you look at how we did last weekend, I say we, and I mean South Jersey. In games that featured out-of-area opponents, South Jersey went 16-6. That's pretty good. A few of those losses were 8 seeds, I think. You've got, I'm just looking here, Raritan beat Middle Township. That was an 8 seed. Point Borough beat Overbrook. That was an 8 seed. Cherry Hill West lost to Middletown South. That was an 8 seed. So that's 3 of the 6. Of course, Washington Township, that was 1. That's 4.
Mm-hmm.
The upset of the weekend here is Pennsauken losing to Long Branch.
Yeah.
7-seeded Long Branch beating Pennsauken 13-6. So that's 5 by my count. And the sixth one is, sorry to make everybody wait here. I should have had this isolated out, but I don't know. What was the sixth one? Maybe I miscounted.
Maybe somebody will throw it in the comments.
Yeah. Maybe it's just 5. I don't know. I thought it was 6. Here's something that's interesting to me, Rod. Burlington Township. Let's talk about Burlington Township.
The Falcons.
The Falcons had a rough season. Had a tough time of it this year. They had a tough schedule. They had a young team.
Mm-hmm.
They still do. I mean, although it's playoff time, nobody's young anymore.
Right.
Lost to Delsey by 4 touchdowns. Lost to Camden Eastside by, 3 or 4 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
The season ended. They lost to Willingboro 45-16 or 17.
Yep. They lost to Pennsauken as well, I believe.
Yeah, and I think I saw on the Instagram of the team that they have made the playoffs 18 consecutive years, maybe.
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
Coach Madera does an incredible job. They go to Ocean Township, and Ocean Township is the 2 seed. I think they have a Temple committed quarterback who didn't play, I don't think anybody saw Burlington Township doing what they did in that game, Rod.
I'm just going back and looking at some of the games that they played, and you're right. I don't think anybody expected them to win. I mean, they lost to Morristown 28-8, Pennsauken 31-13, Delsey 35-6, Camden Eastside 35-6. They lost to Winslow as well 35-21. Willingboro 42-15. So, yeah, coming into this game, I mean, you're on a 4-game lose streak, and you're giving up 35-plus points. I'm not a betting man in this reason because I probably would have bet the house that they would have given up 35 points on this game based on just simply what they've done over the last 4 weeks, and they flipped the switch. I mean, they put up 34 and only allowed 7. So that was a major flip for Burlington Township, and a great job by that program down there.
Yeah, the Falcons are moving on. And I did find out what the other one was. I apologize. South Jersey Group 1, Asbury Park, the 2 seed, beat Pittman, the 7 seed, 54-21. So that was the other one. Those were the 6 that we lost. But some really big wins. And let's just mark them off, because when we go through and look at the playoffs and we think some of these teams are good or they're solid, we're not sure how good they are. They get to the playoffs and we're looking at the teams that they're playing against that have much better records, or it looks like they played, we're trying to figure it out with kinds of string and glue sometimes. And because of that, sometimes we lose sight of how good our teams are against when they play other teams.
Other teams, yeah.
Okay? So
yeah,
teams like that stand out to me. Maple Shade, obviously, we feel pretty good about Maple Shade in Group 1. They win 31-7 against South Hunterdon.
That's pretty good for Maple Shade. I know a lot of people kind of overlook them. So, I mean, when you're talking Group 1, that Maple Shade isn't one of the first teams that you typically say. So for them to go down and get a win, that's pretty huge. Congratulations to Maple Shade.
Yeah, I mean, they're favored in that, but to win by 24 is solid.
Right.
Glassboro beats Keyport 18-0, shutout. Hey, Glassboro, again, on the rise, big one next week. But these two in South Jersey Group 2 that we weren't sure what we would see, and both teams, very impressive jobs. And we got to give a shout-out to Coach Timberlake of Pleasantville and
Great
Coach
job.
Forrest of Oak Crest. Pleasantville beats Johnson 25-7 on Friday night, and Oakcrest shuts out Del Val 14-0 on Saturday to advance. Here's the other thing, Rod. We put together that hats off 7-on-7 invitational.
Mm-hmm.
RV and Washington Township both lost heartbreakers this week, but the other 10 teams all advanced to the second round. So,
wow, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to take credit for it. But, didn't hurt.
That's a good lineup. Good lineup of teams you had.
Didn't hurt them. See what we get next year. A couple others I want to mention before we look at these brackets as a whole. Highland goes on the road and beats Manasquan 32-7.
Mm-hmm.
Big win there. Of course, we mentioned Camden Eastside beating South Plainfield 27-6 on the road. Burlington Township 34, Ocean Township 7, Willingboro 52, New Providence 7.
Mm-hmm.
That's a 4-5 matchup, 52-7.
Wow.
Willingboro is coming on strong at the right time. Couple other impressive wins. Again, we mentioned Atlantic City. Mainland and Moorestown. This is two South Jersey teams. Oh, Winslow beats Colts next 16-8 yesterday in Central Jersey Group 4.
16-8, yep.
And Winslow, that bracket, they'll play Middletown South. They have another big team from the out of area that week. So, in looking at the brackets, what has stood out to me is this weekend, the games you might want to see, it's all about if you're at a buffet, it's all about what flavor do you want?
What do you want?
What do you want? Most of the games are going to be on Friday night. To my knowledge, projecting on when teams usually play their home games. So if something changes, I'm sorry, and I didn't know. There's only 2 Saturday games. It would be Salem hosting Glassboro.
Right.
And I'm talking about here. If you want to go on the road, that's fine.
That's up to you.
Woodbury hosting Shore.
Right.
Who beat Manville last week. So most of the games are going to be Friday night. Let's talk about what they are. We got Paulsboro, Woodstown, rematch. Woodstown beat Paulsboro for the first time earlier in the season, and now Paulsboro seems to be clicking. Woodstown's been clicking most of the year, except 1 week.
How about James Hill breaking the school rushing record?
Yeah.
So congratulations to him.
Congratulations to James. Congratulations to the Wolverines. A 1 seed in Central Jersey Group 1. They beat Shalleck 45-8 in that first round. Also in South Jersey, you got Gloucester at Haddonfield. I got to give it to the Lions. Man. Coach Mike McEwen, a friend of the program at Collingswood, said he felt like Gloucester is as physical as anybody. Like, they're so tough. And I kept saying, I think West Defford got a rough seed. I thought they should have been a better seed. And Gloucester is taking that step, man. 14-0. I mean, that's impressive. Congratulations to the Lions. I'll eat crow on that. I thought West Defford would be the favorite in that game. Nope.
I have to say, I had Gloucester in that.
You had Gloucester. Jake Zierfoss,
yes.
Great job. Demir Finley, one of the better D linemen in the area.
Yeah.
Coach Brian, great job. Gloucester moves on. They go to Haddonfield on Friday night.
They got to bring that physicality to Haddonfield, though.
Oh, no question.
If they're physical with Haddonfield, I think they have a puncher's chance. But we all know, most of South Jersey would kind of pick Haddonfield for that game. I would assume they would be the favorite.
Well, they're definitely the favorite. Yeah, for sure. Okay. You got Camden Eastside at Delsey on Friday night. This is a game that intrigues me. I haven't figured out what the game of the week's going to be yet, Rob, but this is one that I would not be surprised if it's definitely in the final cut. Highland at Seneca in Central Jersey Group 3.
Right.
The storylines here are great. Seneca's undefeated. They beat Somerville 47-33 on Friday. They're undefeated.
Mm-hmm.
Highland. So we talked at the beginning of the season. There is not one person out there outside of Tabernacle that is saying this is Seneca's. Watch for Seneca. Okay?
Right.
We talked to Coach Fisher last week after they capped a unbeaten regular season. We talked to him on this show. Go back and listen to that. It was great. Here they are, undefeated. Now, they had minimal expectations from the outside looking in to start. Highland, on the other hand, had big expectations.
Mm-hmm.
We had Coach Leary on before the season as well. And Coach Leary and Coach Fisher go back to the same staff at Triton, right?
Right.
So now Highland had the setback against RV, but to win 32-7 against Manasquan in the first round, Highland is feeling good about themselves, and they should be, and they're headed to Seneca.
Right.
I think that is going to be a really interesting game. And it's not as conventional as some of these other games, right? Like teams that, if you don't, I hate to say this, but if you don't catch them this year, you didn't catch them last year, you can catch them another year. They're probably going to be here. I'm not saying Highland and Seneca won't be. I'm just saying to this point, I know Highland had a run to the South Jersey final a few years ago, or semifinals, a few years ago. That's an interesting matchup. The bottom of that bracket's interesting as well. One we talked about. I know a lot of our fans in here are Creek freaks. When it is Creek, there's only one Creek. There's only one Creek till next year or next time they play. The Pirates win 28-7 against Timber Creek on Friday night. Camden wins 41-0 against Nottingham. So now Creek goes to Camden in a rematch of a sectional final a couple years ago. Teams that were in that same division for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I think it had Cedar Creek, Camden Eastside,
Right.
Willingboro, Delsey, I think was in there.
Mm-hmm.
Very familiar, these two programs. However, that sectional final was Tim Watson was the coach at Cedar Creek. Dwayne Savage was the coach at Camden High.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Jimmy Melody, of course, the coach for the Pirates, and Coach Rob Hinson for the Panthers. So Cedar Creek. This whole bracket is interesting, right? If you told me, well, it's going to be Seneca and Camden, it's going to be chalk in the championship, I say, oh, that makes sense. You said, well, it's going to be Highland and Camden. I said, I can see it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's Cedar Creek and Seneca. All right. Like, I like this bracket. These are great sectional semifinals.
Yeah, have to show up, bring your hard hat. This is what we've all been waiting for at the end of the day. Regular season is one thing, but now that we're in the playoffs, this is must-see TV. Pretty much you can go out your door and go a couple miles and see a really good game. So Camden, Cedar Creek, the battle that continues to keep giving. The last two meetings, I believe Cedar Creek has won. So it's going to be interesting to see if that continues.
Another note about that, it's funny because both schools, when they played that sectional final, I want to say that was 2019. I want to say it was the year before COVID.
Okay.
That was Group 2.
Right.
They were both Group 2 teams.
Mm-hmm.
And last year, Cedar Creek went up to 3.
Right.
Camden High was still in 2. And now Camden High is 3. They just can't get away from each other, these two schools.
Yeah, they're kind of stuck at the hip at the moment. I'm just looking. I'm going back to the last 5 games they've played each other. 2021, Cedar Creek wins 27-8. 2019, like you said, Cedar Creek won 31-23. But the meeting before, remember they met twice that year.
Yeah.
And Camden won the first meeting 42-41. So it's going to this. See, this is what I try to tell people without saying it, because I mean, certain teams know how to prepare for the season, right? It's not about getting quick, cheap wins. It's about getting quality wins and have quality games for your teams to prepare them for the playoffs. What I saw when I went down to Cherokee to watch Cedar Creek Cherokee scrimmage, one thing I told you was that they got dominated in that game. I said, however, they have some pieces. So Coach Melody has done a great job with putting those pieces in the right places, figuring out what they do best. But the biggest thing is the kids grew up.
Yeah.
When you have a young team, you got Billy Smith taking over for a quarterback that threw 1,500 plus yards last year, You have Benjamin, Smalls and those guys that are taking over for a guy who, arguably was the best wide receiver in the state of New Jersey. You know what I mean? You're going to have some type of drop-off. And then when you talk about the line of scrimmage, you got guys moving from center to linebacker to tight end. I mean, those things take time. So it took them a while to figure out some things. And just seeing them when they played Eastside and then they turn around and played Salem and then they played St. Joe's again, it was moments in those games where you say, now I know why they've been the powerhouse they've been the last couple of years. And, kudos to Coach.
Coach Melody is he's one of the best.
Right.
Offensively, especially the quarterback whisperer. And he's had some mighty talented players there as well. And the quarterbacks, Billy Smith and Landicini. But Coach Melody.
And the one before that, Barrios? Was it
Barrios?
Yeah, he's at Del Val doing a great job right now as quarterback.
Coach Melody's done a great job. And, it was about, could they get that win that kind of could propel them forward from a belief standpoint. And I think that late season win really pushed them through. I mean, or helped galvanize the team. And then you saw now, as Matt Bessa said in the comments here, and he's exactly right, everybody is, if you're one of the 40 left in South or Central Jersey brackets, or one of the 80 in the state public teams left, you're 1-0. That's it.
It doesn't.
That's it.
What happened at the beginning of the year doesn't matter.
It's gone.
But I'll tell you this about this Camden Cedar Creek game. Cedar Creek has to bring their hard hats. Camden defense is elite.
Yeah.
That will be the best defense they see all year.
Yeah.
I've watched Camden. I've made it my business to go watch Camden the last couple of weeks because, I've been over at Eastside and.
Well, you're alumni.
Yeah, and I'm everywhere. And I'm a Camden alumni. But I will say this. They have, over the last couple of weeks that I've watched them, I don't want to say the wrong word. I don't want to say quit. But I've seen them punish quarterbacks to the point where they've been discouraged and wondering if they could win. You know what I mean? Like they put that doubt in their head, and you can see it.
I don't think that's going to happen with Cedar Creek, but Cedar Creek has to.
They got to bring their hard hats.
They got to bring it.
They got to come. They got to come ready to play. They got to buckle up. This is that defensive line for Camden is elite. And the defensive backs, I think every defensive back in the backfield has a major Division I offer. So, I mean, that's when you're talking about passing offense, it kind of plays into, Camden's hand in that respect. But it's going to be interesting, man. This is a cat and mouse game that I can't wait to see.
Well, and if you look at I'm gonna against Nottingham in the first round they went 41-0. Camden Catholic 49-7 the week before that. So before that was the Paulsboro game.
Right.
That's a game where there's 6-0 at halftime. They win 41-0. Defense holds the fort till the offense shows up in the second half. Haddonfield, I was there. 7-3.
Right.
Defense wins the game. A number of red zone trips in there. They stop them every time. There was no way a touchdown was getting scored against them.
Right.
Haddon Heights, 29-8, close at halftime. Defense again, keeping things. West Deptford 33-10, same thing. Like the defense is going to be there every week for Camden High.
Exactly.
So that is one that Kevin says Hurd's got 12 sacks in 5 games.
That's insane.
They're as good up front
insane.
and across the board as any defense there is. So you got Coach Melody, an offensive guy.
Henson, defensive guy.
Henson,
That's why this is going to be. Hopefully, it plays up to what we're kind of pushing it up to be, and we hope it to be. But it just plays into a great cat and mouse game where you see defenses making adjustments, and then the offense makes an adjustment. So,
that's a big one.
That's a huge one.
Another one, if you want to stay local in South Jersey, talk about teams that find their way back to each other. South Jersey Group 4, Hamilton and Shawnee. I don't think you can have a playoffs if they don't play at some point. It seems like every year, whatever happens, it ends up being Hamilton and Shawnee, and 2 programs that traditionally are always there, right? So it's no surprise. The Shawnee beat Ocean City 42-7. Hamilton beat Heightstown 48-6. Shawnee has had the better of this matchup for a while now.
Come on, man.
So
it's the playoffs.
It's at Hamilton. It's a different team, of course, than last year and the year before and the year before and the year before. Everybody's 1-0. But I think for Hamilton, as good a season as they've had.
Amazing. Yep.
Amazing year. It's a special opportunity to face a program
it's a staple win.
They've ended your season. I mean, a number of times. That's not just like playing, no offense to anybody else, but it's not like playing Colts Neck.
Right.
It's playoffs. Yeah, you want to get to that championship, but when it's like, guys, we got Sean. You remember how it felt, or your older brother remember how it felt. So that's big. And Shawnee 42-7. I mean, at this time of year, you expect them just to do what they do. We'll have more with Mac hopefully later on in the week about that.
That was a shocker, though, seeing that score. I was absolutely shocked seeing 42-7.
And it was they put it away early, I think.
Yeah. But this is what Shawnee does, right? They only need 3 wins to make a championship run. So,
yep. Millville will host. Millville beat Lacey 49-6. The Bolts will host Jackson out of the Shore Conference. It'll be Manalapan 10-7. The Jaguars head to Wheaton Field. I'm guessing that would be a 6 p.m. kick. Most of Millville's kicks are 6 p.m. You got Winslow's heading to Middletown South. Mainland will host Long Branch. We said Long Branch upset Pensauken. Mainland 63-10. Mainland is clicking on all cylinders. They're putting on a show right now. 63 points the first round of playoffs. I don't care who you're playing. When you run the ball the way they do, to put up 63 points. Yeah, I don't know how many passes they threw in that game, but that's dominance up front, and with Jabril Mace in the backfield, you don't have to. It isn't. You don't need to get too algebraic with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How about this one? Here's another one. You like big school football? That's what you're into? You like the Group 5? How about Cherokee at Kingsway? Cherokee beats Williamstown 45-14. Kingsway beats Southern 35-6. Cherokee and Kingsway on Friday night at Kingsway. The reason it's at Kingsway is because Kingsway beat Cherokee in the regular season. They got a better seed. That's part of the reason. So they had not beaten Kingsway, had not beaten Cherokee in a while. It was kind of the proverbial monkey on their back. They beat them this year.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was 35-21. And you got to feel like, whew, beat Cherokee.
Right.
Max said it on the show. You know, that's the saying that he always had. You're not a program until you beat Cherokee. You beat Cherokee. You're right there. Get to see him again a couple weeks later in the playoffs. So the Chiefs headed to East Greenwich, Kevin? Is that the date line? Swedesboro is not a township, but that'll be a good game in Group 5. The top of that bracket, Toms River North, is going to host Marlboro. In Central Jersey 5, Lenape will host Atlantic City. We talked about Atlantic City in the Open, about what they've done. They get to head to Lenape, who, word is, Woj tied Max record for playoff wins at Lenape was 6. To give Mac a hard time about that. Woolwich Township. Thank you, Kevin. You're right, Will. A lot of great matchups, man. A lot of great matchups. This is when it starts to get really good. The bottom of that bracket is Edison. They pulled an upset. I think they're the 6th seed or the 7th seed. No, it's 6th seed. They beat Hillsborough 10-7. We saw Edison against Cedar Creek at the beginning of the year. They're an impressive club. They're going to play at North Brunswick, who won 45-31 over Hunter and Central. Let me quick mention the games I didn't mention the first time around. I was talking about just the games that were hosted by South Jersey schools. Maple Shade will head to Asbury Park in the second round of South Jersey Group 1. You got Paulsboro at Woodstown Friday night in Central Jersey 1, and then Saturday Glassboro at Salem. Pleasantville at Raritan in South Jersey Group 2. Oakcrest at Rumson Fairhaven in South Jersey Group 2. So both those Atlantic County Group 2 clubs get to head out of area against some perennial powerhouse teams in Raritan and Rumson Fairhaven. Willingboro at Point Pleasant Borough, I believe they played last year in a sectional final. Point Pleasant Borough won. Willingboro right now is putting up a lot of points. And Point Pleasant Borough, I think they might be undefeated. Mm-hmm. They're big. They're going to run the wing tee stuff. Willingboro saw it last year. They're going to head down and see it again this year. And the other side of that is Gloucester at Haddonfield. Camden East side of Delsey, we mentioned that. The bottom of that bracket is, I believe, Burlington Township heading to Hopewell Valley, who beat Matawan. That should be all the matchups. So, again, it's about what do you want to see? Where do you want to go? Are you talking atmosphere? Is that what you're up for? Well, Woodstown on Friday night is crazy. Woodstown is a tough place to play. Maybe that's where you want to go. Are you talking something a little bit of a wild card? Then maybe it is Highland at Seneca. You're talking traditional teams that know each other, their fan bases know each other, they've had history, there's a lot of electrifying playmakers, like you said, the matchup of Melody and Hinson, Farnham Park. You want old traditional rivals, powerhouses, familiarity, Hamilton Shawnee. I don't know, man. There's a lot. Cherokee Kingsway, that Group 5 feel, a ton of people there. Duran. Yeah, Camden Creek, Woodstown, Paulboro. I mean, those are massive games. I think the most important game right now in front of me is the Birds, Steelers at 1. Battle, Pennsylvania, Rod. Let's talk about that and briefly touch on a couple other things after a quick break. I got to get some water. Joe McColgan, Nick Strom, and John Doherty have been part of a lot of wins in South Jersey football. They won on the field. Let them win for you in the game of real estate. With over $200 million in real estate transactions between the three of them and over 30 years of real estate experience, they're servicing anywhere in South Jersey, from the Philadelphia Bridges all the way to the Cape May Lighthouse. With one of South Jersey's fastest growing teams, $29.5 million alone in real estate sales in 2021 and 22. First-time home buyers, seller consultations, relocations, rentals, downsizing, or if you're not quite sure how to get started in the process of real estate, give them a call for a free consultation at 609-314-9862. That's South Jersey Elite. They won on the field. Let them win for you in the game of real estate. Welcome back, New Jersey football fans. I gotta adapt that. I gotta remember every time it's New Jersey, not South Jersey, because of people like Dwayne and Hector. And how about my guy Coach Ab up at West Orange? Big win for him this week as they prevail. Couple odd stories we'll touch on too. First is the story about Montclair forfeiting that in Group 5 up there. I think it's Group 5. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, Dwayne. That was weird, odd timing. The day before the playoffs. An ineligible player that played all season, I guess. Seems just like odd timing. Of course, the other piece we're going to talk about is the measurement that went viral. I know that it is Group 5. Thank you, Dwayne. The measurement that went viral from the Vineland Eastern game the other night. Whew, I tell you, man, it was kind of odd seeing. Like every outlet in the universe on your feed show this video from Vineland and Eastern. It was weird to me, Rob, because like we all follow Kevin Minnick, who had it on Twitter. You had it on Instagram, like. We follow South Jersey people.
Right.
So when you see a clip, you kind of just have a passing glance or a clip of something that is South Jersey related.
Right.
You think, oh, this must be from Gridiron Access or Rod or Kevin or Mike McGarry or McGurk or whoever. Not John Boy, not SportsCenter, not Top 10. I told you, Kevin, it would end up there. Kevin, I told you yesterday. Kevin Minnick and I rode down to Marlboro. I told him it will end up there for sure. Crazy.
That was amazing. I mean, I woke up. I wake up pretty early, so I woke up that morning and I saw a post by Sherwood Collins. So I saw his post, and I'm like trying to look at the video. So I see the video, and then I'm like, what is going on? So I go back to the good thing is Vineland has probably one of the best high school broadcasters in South Jersey. They're really good. So the fact that we were able to see everything was pretty cool, and I see it. So then I go on Twitter and I see Kevin's, and I'm like, man, we got to share this out. So it just started picking up momentum. The funniest thing about that whole thing to me, see, I find the humor in things. And Greg Mack pointed it out as well, was the walk-off after he picked the ball up. Yeah. It's like, yeah, I did it, and what? Like, it was kind of like, yeah, you saw what you saw, but what are you going to do about it? Like, he may walk like that, like, he may have been walking like that for his whole life, but the walk-off was hilarious to me. So that was absolutely comical, man.
Like Kevin says, 7.2 million views on the video he posted.
Wow. Wow.
You know,
get that check, Kev.
It's hey, look, I mean, there's a couple of different ways to look at this. My perspective is it's unfortunate, and I know it is or was going to be dealt with. It's unfortunate it happened. It kind of shows it doesn't take much nowadays for things to go to catch like wildfire.
Go viral.
But this is the thing, though, Ron, that I can't. When you see something like that go viral and go nuts, it's just crazy, like how fast that can happen.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, it's. I watched the video. In full disclosure.
Here we go. Let's go.
This is another. We need a like Mac has a soapbox. We got to say like confession time or Mark being an idiot time. I must have watched that video 15 times and turned it off right at the end, like before the end.
Right.
Because the video itself is like what? I don't know, 15, 20 seconds.
Right.
Here they come. They're out there measuring. All right. And I'm like, I kept thinking for some reason the problem was the guy who pulled the chain forward.
Right.
Like maybe he was in the wrong spot. I'm watching over and over. I'm like, I don't see what happened. And then one time, instead of closing it out, I watched the whole thing and I'm like, oh, no. But I'm like, man, I'm seeing messages and I'm getting texts and I'm like, I can't even respond because I'm like, I don't see what the big deal is because I didn't see. So watch the whole video through. That's a lesson. Don't be like me. Watch things all the way through.
We all know some officials in South Jersey, and we all reached out, and they all had the this is a bad look for officials.
Yeah.
But even in the moment, if the problem with the video is the fact that he moved the chain back,
right?
That's like. Nobody would have batted an eye if they would have brought the chain out and it did get moved a little bit. You know, it wouldn't have been that big of a issue. But the fact that he moved the chain, then moved the ball up to mark it and gave him the first, it was like, that was wild. But he probably, I don't know if I want to defend him, but his thoughts and what he was trying to do was right, but it was wrong in the moment. Like, in that moment, you can't do that because it was a couple errors in that whole setup. Normally, when they spot the ball, right, the official is on it, holding the ball in that place until the chains come out. You got a third official. He picks up the clip. He walks out, places the clip, and then they stretch the chains out. So it was like a couple things that was off about the whole thing, but absolutely did not expect to wake up and see that in the morning, and that went absolutely bonkers. Great video.
Having been a part of, thanks, Kev. Thanks for joining today, man. You said you listened. You did. You said you watch. But Kev, like in talking with Kevin, this was a couple of times when I was at when I write stories that went big somehow. Mm-hmm. Or went viral, or things that happened like that. Like the year Paulsboro beat Salem in the championship, the kid laid out and made a catch, and it was on the top 10 that night on ESPN. Mm-hmm. Like they message you and say, "Can we use this? Sure, do whatever you want." Things like that have happened, or that's on Twitter, and you can't understand what that's like until that happens to you, how quickly things can truly move. Like, that is like grassroots, okay, compared to, there's not this video didn't get sent to ESPN and it's put on ESPN. Like, it got there. Like, think about that. That video got there. How fast? Like Kevin said, 7.2 million views. Well, you can look at Twitter and see his thing on it is like a slot machine, like nonstop, like a ticker tape, right?
Right.
When that happens, it is a very odd feeling.
Yeah.
And there were a couple times when I broke some news or something back in the day, where you publish a story or something and it blows up. And it is one of the oddest. It's actually one of the most lonely feelings I've ever felt, because it's gone now. Like the reactions, the actions, all of these things are happening and they're going on and on and on and on and on. And you're like you, you're like, I need a.
It's a crazy feeling.
Right.
Just imagine being on the other side of that.
Right.
You know, it just shows you the power of social media and the power of, South Jersey in general. Everybody was tweeting that thing out. Everybody was sending it out. But at the end of the day, it's a crazy feeling.
Yeah.
To have that run up. Like, if you've never gone viral or had something go viral, you probably don't know or wouldn't understand. But yeah, I absolutely know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's an uncomfortable feeling, and you see the power and the speed at which that power operates when it comes to social media. So, crazy week, couple odd topics there. For anybody who's a baseball fan, or I want to know how you feel about the Phils. They fought back in game one on Friday night and won. Last night, I thought for a second when Schwarber hit that ball, went just foul, and then the other one to the warning track, I'm like, they're going to come back again. Wasn't meant to be. It's 1-1 coming back to Philly on Monday night.
That's a win, though. That's like in the series and in the grand scheme of things. You want to steal one game, whether it's the first or the second. You want to steal a game on the road. So they did what they were supposed to do. Now they're coming home and just got to finish that thing out.
Yeah, they did. And the thing about game two and the way the margin was and the way the game played out, the bullpen got a rest. The main guys, the high leverage guys. So, and we'll see. That's tomorrow. Eagles football. The Birds haven't been around. It's been 2 weeks since they beat Dallas, and they host Pittsburgh at 1 today. Robert Quinn is added to the mix, defensive end from Chicago. I wouldn't be surprised if there's another deal coming up. I think the deadline is the 1st. Halloween, trick-or-treat time. I do not think there's going to be any trick-or-treating past 8:03 p.m. in this area. There is no one. There should be no. This is a decree. There should be no kid or parent with a kid knocking on a door or ringing a doorbell after first pitch of Game 3 of the World Series. If you are in this area, do not do it. My lights are going off. I live in Philadelphia. My lights are going off.
I think I trained my neighborhood not to come to my door. That's my pet peeve. Like, I'm cool with Halloween. Go dress, do what you want to do. Go do trunk or treat. Don't knock on my door asking for candy, man. That's the one thing. I'm sorry. Like, I just don't like people knocking on my door. I put the bowl out. Like,
sit
do
out
not
at the end
knock
of the
on my door,
driveway.
man. No,
Put it out there.
No, don't knock on my door. And listen, if you're in my neighborhood, and you know where I live, you better get there first, because the older kids just dump the whole bucket in their in their bag.
If you know where Rod lives, go out there and stake it out. You get a whole bucket of candy.
You just get the first bucket. But my man, don't knock on my door, interrupt what I got going on, asking me for a Kit Kat. Like, I'm not happy about that.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. But just don't. I mean, look. You guys know the rules. 8:03. Everybody should be home by then. It's interesting. Halloween, Monday night. What happened to all the cobwebs, man? You vacuumed them up? No more spiders?
Oh man, they were getting out of control. Arachnophobia. Like what's the movie with all the spiders? It was going crazy in here. It was too many.
Yeah, I felt like I was. I felt very festive. That didn't take long. It's like you really, yeah. I mean, we got Chiefs orange here, some Wilson orange. I mean, Camden Eastside orange. Sorry, don't cancel me. He says, Hector says, set an empty bowl at the front door with a note saying, please take one bag. You're done for the night.
That's what I do.
Yeah, let me tell you how that works, Hector. Last year, I gave out candy in my house, and I even gave it out. I mean, this is how you can't even trust that. I had a bucket. Kids would come trick or treat. I said, okay, great. Hold the bucket out. There's 5 different kinds of candy. They just grab 2 handfuls.
Right.
I got parents leaning over their shoulders saying, give me a Twix.
Right.
I'm like, I'm right here. I'm right here.
See?
Have a little respect.
See, they're entitled. They think, you know?
They say, give me a Twix.
And
like, you can ask me for a Twix. I'm also an adult. I'd say no.
Right.
I'd say no, it's for the kids. But kids you can't do that. You say, what kind do you want? And you give them the allotted amount. Otherwise, they'll just take as much as they want. They don't care.
Yeah, I don't have the patience.
And I don't blame them. And I don't blame them. I do the same. I would have done the same thing as a kid. And you always went with the one kid that got the most candy. And the worst was the kid that would be like, is that all? And they're like, oh, okay. They give them more. You're like, well, I'm not going to say that.
I have a question, and this is for the the comment section too. I'll ask you, what is the worst Halloween candy? That's a question. Post them in the comments. But Mark, what is the worst? What is the candy that you just?
Well, people will kill me for this.
Don't say candy corn.
What?
Don't say candy corn. You like candy corn?
No, I don't.
Okay, all right.
I don't care for it. So maybe I'll say that. If I said what I really feel, like me personally, and this is a taste thing, man, I can't control it.
Yeah.
People will lose their mind on me. I'll hear about this forever. I'm not a peanut butter and chocolate guy. I do not like Reese's.
Okay.
If you like Reese's, good on you. You can have all of mine. I can't stand it. Like, I would never even try to eat it. It just doesn't work for me. Everybody says candy corn. I would think this Tootsie Rolls. Tootsie Rolls are great, Deron. I would say another one that'll get in there is Smarties. People don't like Smarties.
Yeah.
I don't mind Smarties, but I get it. Like, they're not really that sweet. Black licorice, that's my favorite, Steven.
Oh, yeah.
That's what everybody hates, black licorice.
I'm not a black licorice or was it Mars bars? What?
Yeah, I love Mars bars. But like the opposite is true of black licorice. Everybody hates it. I love it. So when I get that candy, nobody's taking it. It is sit. People come over my house. Nobody will touch them. I know it's mine. Otherwise, like,
see,
you get good candy, people are just going to take it if you leave it in your house. Like, if you have a candy dish.
See, I like the hot tamales.
I don't like Whoppers either.
Oh yeah, they're
Get them out of here.
What is that? That's like eating air.
Get them Whoppers out of here.
I like the what is it? The lemon heads.
Ooh, those are good.
Boston baked beans. I'm a Boston baked beans guy. You know, I get those.
Like Mike and Ike's?
Mike and Ike's, love them. That's what I'm saying.
I like fruit flavored candy.
Yeah, the hot tamale one, the one that tastes kind of like cinnamon. I don't really eat it all, but I kind of like the flavor. But
what about Nerds?
I love Nerds.
What about?
I love Nerds.
What were the ones? Runts.
I don't remember those.
They were I think they're Runts. They're shaped like fruit.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I don't like the banana ones, but
Yeah,
all the
I
other
was going to
ones.
say
Yeah,
that.
the
I was
banana
just
ones
gonna
are
say
the
that.
worst.
Yeah.
The worst. Nestle
Yeah.
Crunch bars for Dwayne. He loves those.
Yeah.
A lot of people said candy corn, so that's
Yeah, I used to eat candy corn when I was a lot younger, but I guess as my taste buds changed, that was it.
I don't. It just doesn't.
Yeah, they're
Like if
they're
you
not
put
good.
one here and said eat it, I wouldn't be like, I can't eat it. I would eat it, but I'm like, it doesn't. The texture's not great.
Yeah,
I guess they call that mouth feel. The mouth feel is great, and it doesn't really taste like. I don't know. It just doesn't really taste anything great.
yeah.
I mean,
See, my brother in the South, like when we grew up in the South, we used to get I don't know if you remember Chico sticks.
Oh, yeah,
You
I
remember
remember
Chico
Chico.
sticks?
Yeah,
They
of
used to
course.
be real long. Like that was his thing. He would eat those, and I never really did like them, but that was his thing. Like that was, you know, on him.
okay, let's go. Let's dig a little further on this because it seems like everybody's into the candy combo now. I'm starting to get into. Also, real quick, a special shout out to Marlboro's home side snack stand yesterday. They had churros.
Really?
Yeah, so good on them. That's pretty good. No milk duds. I agree. They ripped my feelings out. This is a football show, but
Yeah, I mean,
whatever.
We live a little
Halloween.
too. We live a little.
Favorite candy bar?
For me,
Yeah, candy bar.
Snickers. But I used to like
That's
Mr.
pretty.
Mr. Butterfingers, the Butterfinger. Oh,
That's peanut butter and chocolate.
Oh man, I used to kill those. Well, what candy bar do you eat that doesn't have chocolate?
No, but that's peanut butter and chocolate, Mr. Butterfinger.
Right, Butterfinger. So what is it for you?
Snickers doesn't have peanut butter.
Oh, you
Mine is the Hershey's Score Bar. Chocolate with toffee. I love toffee, bro.
no.
Kit
I'm
Kat
out.
for Derek.
I'm out.
I love toffee.
I like
Sorry.
Kit Kats.
Kit
I like-
Kats are good. Kit Kats are pretty unstoppable.
You like Twix?
Yeah, Twix are good.
Okay.
You remember the Bart Simpson Butterfingers commercials?
Yeah, they were
Nobody
the
better
best.
lay a finger on my Butterfinger.
Yeah, they were good.
Do they still make Butterfingers?
Yeah, I haven't had one in a while. I kind of got away from eating a lot of candy.
Yeah,
Um,
same here.
but I haven't. So yesterday, while I was away at the game, my wife took the kids out trick or treating.
Yeah.
I guess somewhere they're doing it early.
Mm-hmm.
So when I come home, my daughter has the nerds for me,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's some Snickers like pushed to the side. So they look
got
out.
into
They look
it.
out for Dad when I'm not around. It's pretty cool.
I like whatchamacallits.
Oh, what's them call
That's
it?
good
Yes,
call,
yes,
Dwayne.
yes.
You know, I've never seen anybody eat a zero bar before. They come in a silver package.
I know what you're
I've
talking
always
about.
seen them at the. I've always seen them at the store. I've never seen anybody actually eat one
I had a
or buy
comment.
one.
I was going to say, well, it's funny. I would see the zero bar wrappers, and this is not a knock on anybody who's a smoker, but what is it? The Virginia Slim cigarettes,
Yep.
and I would see those with the zero bar wrappers at this one person's house that I go to, and it's like, what do you sit and smoke and eat the zero bar at the same time as that your go-to? Like, you know how some people, they sip coffee and they
Yeah.
smoke their cigarette, but the Virginia
Zero
Slims,
bars and Virginia Slims.
that's a wild combination right there. That's wild.
Slim to none. Slim to zero. That's it. Slim
Yeah.
to zero. That's the Slim to Zero diet. Well, for this Virginia Slim, I think that's it.
Yeah.
I think we're done today.
Before we get out of here, can I just say something real quick?
Yeah.
I want to give a huge shout out. I'm gonna do it on the show because yesterday was absolutely amazing.
Yeah,
I had a great time. My weekend was actually good. I just need a Eagles win today, and that would complete the weekend. But I want to give a shout out to the Yotes family. Their son Ryan Yotes plays at Assumption, plays quarterback. But I got the chance to ride up with them to the game, so I want to give them a huge shout out. It was a great time, great atmosphere. Just kept catching up on South Jersey football, all things South Jersey. We were talking about some of the players, the Ma Browns, and different players that played throughout South Jersey. But that just shows how tight the South Jersey community is. Is that once kids move on, you still have that network of people who's still talking and communicating. So huge shout out to the Yotes family.
Shout out to the Greyhounds. Assumption, 14-13 win over New Haven.
14-13. Great game. If you like defense, man, you got to watch Assumption football. It's pretty good football. So it's always a blessing when your kids get an opportunity to possibly go to the playoffs. So we're talking about NCAA. It's not like high school or youth football where everybody makes the playoffs or certain wins. You lose one game, you're possibly out, but they've been able to do some good things. So hopefully they finish this season out and get an opportunity to go to playoffs. I'll be a little excited about that. I saw some guys from did you talk about Coach Ab today at all?
Yeah.
I saw some
Briefly.
I saw some of his players up there. They were on a recruiting visit.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, pretty cool. Talked to them. They won their game. So it was a good time. Real good time. That's it. So I'm done for
I
the
didn't
show.
even realize this whole time. It's a football show. I didn't even realize that there's an NFL game going on right now in London.
Oh, what is
But it's the Broncos. So I
Let's
don't know
ride.
if that really counts as NFL football.
Let's ride.
Let's ride. Broncos country. Let's ride. Whew. What a mess. Thank you, Hector, for your kind words, and everybody else as well. Dwayne, we still got to bring Dwayne on. We got sectional semifinals this coming weekend. The Football Frenzy Show will be back at some point this week to preview those games. The bracket for the non-pubs should come out today, I think. Obviously, we've got some teams participating in that. St. Augustine, St. Joe, Holy Spirit, Paul VI. So this is the time of year, folks. Stay tuned with us, and anybody you know who's a South Jersey football fan, share this out. We have it on Spotify and Apple. It's on YouTube, D2 Sports Network here. Studio B, Rod has it all set up, and we are happy to be here. We're excited. Another round of the playoffs is on the way. Stick with us. Thank you for tuning in, as always. For Rod Self, I'm Mark Trible. It's been my Hats Off podcast from Studio B here for South Jersey Glory Day.